Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruples. May the 4 victims rest in peace. Condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served. I found this picture to be interesting because obviously the 4 or 5 roommates live together. The fact that Bethany is so comfortable with Murphy, this is the second or third picture I've seen that relationship, and it always makes me wonder who could have kept the door quiet, or maybe locked the door. With Murphy in Kaylee's room, that they basically locked Murphy or shut the door with Murphy inside Kaylee's room. We know that Adam plays with Murphy. Murphy lives mostly with Jackie and Adam. Bethany Funk knows Murphy well. I assume DM knows Murphy well too. Where was Emily that night? Emily is Anna's best friend and Hunter Johnson is girlfriend. She lives just 2 blocks down Kings Road or Queen Street, Queens Road. Where was she that night? Was she and Hunter chilling with Xana and E when somebody barged into the house? Let's not forget, many people had the code. They had easy access to this house, and it was a party house. These were college students, may they rest in peace. So it could have been some sick person was a stalker, was watching these young girls partying, and was just really upset with his own life. It could be a possibility, a peeping Tom, but then there's no connection to Kohlberger and the 4 victims. So if there's no connections, there's no motive. And if there's no motive, it doesn't make sense. Or the motive is not important. People want to know why. Why would he choose to go and unlive 4 beautiful young victims who are supposed to be safe in the house? I mentioned this a year ago. Why were all 4 victims? I always mention the 3 girls. Why were they cremated? We found out about E recently from his mother in the interview. But why were they all 4 cremated? Were they so brutally unalived? Obviously, like we've heard, that their fingers and their hands, whatever was left, hate to say that, really apologize, but that's the truth, is what Spokane autopsy bagged up in case they need further evidence. Zana fought for life. And Kaylee's father said Kaylee had self-defense. I believe Maddie was sleeping. We haven't heard anything from Maddie or from Maddie's mother. Why hasn't Maddie's mother spoke? Not even at the memorial. She let Maddie's stepfather speak. I wonder why. I'm sure that you can imagine the pain of that all these loved ones and families are going through, but especially my heart goes out to Maddie's mom and dad because they only had Maddie. Maddie was the only child. It's so heartbreaking. But why doesn't Maddie's mom speak about Maddie? Could it be because the media in the beginning was saying that Maddie was the main target? That Maddie was the target? So does the mother feel embarrassed to talk? Or does she really know that it was Maddie that was the target? Or could the mother know that this is more about rugs and more deeper? A more deeper scenario that we could even possibly think of. Maybe that's why the mother doesn't want to be interviewed or talked to. Because it's past a year and a half. I'm sure that they will always be grieving, but then there comes a time, like the sixth roommate who came out 2-3 months ago. In due time, you heal a bit, and it's very strange that Maddie's mother has never spoke. I hope she's getting bereavement counseling. She's lost her only child. I hope the correct justice is served. In the beginning, Kaylee's parents used to talk for Maddie's mom, but I think something went wrong between them. Or maybe Maddie's parents said, please do not do any talking for us, because later on, Steve corrected himself once by saying that I can only talk for my daughter and for no one else. So there's a change of opinions there. Or was maybe Kaylee the target? And maybe that's why Maddie, his mom, is upset and she doesn't want to come out public because there's a gag order. Although the families are not on gag order, well, maybe she knows exactly what happened. Maybe she blames the other parents for what happened to her daughter. Or maybe she's embarrassed because, let's not forget, although it's nothing to be embarrassed over, the last time these poor students were alive, we saw how intoxicated Maddie was. And as a parent, I have a daughter in her 20s, and I'm sure as a parent, you'll be like more, especially if she goes to church and all, or if she believes in faith and all, and the world is watching you, social media, you wouldn't want to indulge with them and just have a discussion and do interviews and all. Maddie's mother's made it clear from the beginning that she doesn't want to have anything to do with this case. I don't think she even comes to the court cases, the trials. But I'm sure things will change once the trial starts on 2nd June 2025. It's been confirmed today. Now I wanted to share this picture with you all. I personally believe that it is an important picture. Please pay attention to where Maddie is standing. Maddie is standing under the steps of the 2nd floor, I believe. The white door she's standing in front of is DM's room, if I'm not mistaken. Then you have the steps behind Maddie that leads up to the flights of steps, and then there's another flight of steps. It leads up to the third floor, Maddie and Kaylee's room. Pay attention to how close Maddie, and I think it's Zana or somebody else, one of her friends, is standing to DM, Dylan Mortison's room. So if DM said that she heard Kaylee saying, I believe somebody's here, and then she heard Kaylee playing with the dog before that, so it sounded like Kaylee and Murphy, her dog, were in the same room. And let's not forget that DM opened the door 3 times. The third time is when she saw a man with bushy eyebrows. And he passed near her and went out to the sliding door. That's to the right, I guess. I don't believe DM is telling the truth for a second. The 8 hours, 9 hours that she didn't call the police or call 911 says a lot. We don't know if they were actually texting each other like it leaked from the grand jury. If DM and BF was doing that, they could have actually called 911 and saved at least 1, 2, or all for the victim's life. They may have had some fatal injuries, but they could have been saved. So the question is, who was DM working with or working for, allegedly? Was there something brewing up with the relationships of the 5 roommates? Could that be the reason the 6th roommate decided not to move inside at all? Ashley was on the news. And if DM heard a voice coming from Xana's room saying, I'm here to help you, or don't worry, I'm here to help, she would have heard the difference between Xana's room, which is on the same floor as her, the 2nd floor. Should have heard that more clearer than she would have heard Kaylee on the 3rd floor playing with Murphy or saying, I think somebody's here. It doesn't make sense. Where was Xana that night? Was she actually chilling home like she told her dad? Maybe with her boyfriend? Maybe they decided to go out to the Sigma Chi fraternity party for a bit. Where was DM that night? And BF? Bethany Funk allegedly has exculpatory evidence, according to BF. He said that he believes he'll be exonerated, I think, by the help of BF. What does she see? What does she know? Could she have borrowed Brian's knife and knife sheet? Could that be the reason the knife was there? Maybe she borrowed it for her own safety. Maybe DM did that, or maybe to frame him. Just a question. Is that the reason Ryan Christopher Koberger came back the next day between 9 to 9:20 Did he come back because maybe BF called him and told him what happened, and he thought, oh my God, I lent her my knife. What if she frames me? Could that be possible? I believe one of these two surviving roommates know BK. Whether they know him personally or indirectly, maybe they know him enough or heard of him enough to frame him. BK, Brian Christopher Koberger, who's a stranger allegedly to this house, wouldn't have the guts to come into a house with 5 or 4 roommates, a dog, party people, a house that maybe people were getting rugs from. Why would he take that chance? And would he let DM open a door 3 times because the house is quiet? He would have heard every time somebody opens the room downstairs. Wasn't DM scared for life? Look at where the steps is to go upstairs to Maddie and Kaylee's room on the 3rd floor. And look at the door on the left. That is DM's room, if I'm not wrong. DM would have heard, seen everything, and so would have the suspect. The suspect would have heard, seen, smelled, especially heard the noise of a door opening. And this house is an old creaky house. Make it make sense. DM, why did it take 8 hours to call the police? And why did you call Hunter Johnson before the police? DM, didn't you need to use the toilet, which was on the 2nd floor? Are you trying to say that you locked your room right up to 11:30 the next day? Are you trying to say you didn't need to go to the toilet? I'm sure you needed to go to the toilet. There is a reason you didn't call 911 for 8 hours. And I don't even believe in the second timeline. If you go according to the first timeline, I would say DM and BF did not call the police for 9 hours. What were these girls doing? Were they just innocently in a state of shock? Were they in a frozen mode? But then yet they were texting each other? Were they both at home? Or was one of them outside? Brian Christopher Koberger said that Bethany Funk has exculpatory evidence can exonerate him. Isn't it strange that the crime scene pictures were taken a lot around BF, his room, window, inside and outside, and the spare room on the ground floor, 1st floor. Yeah, the 1st floor. Is this where BF saw who were the actual suspects or suspect? Is she scared for her life? Has she been threatened? Could that be the reason they didn't call law enforcement? Or were they both involved? Because the chief said the surviving roommates are not witness, they were just there. He was clear to say that in the press conference. When did they become witness? Xana used to spend a lot of time at the Sigma Chi fraternity because you see a lot of pictures of her at the Sigma Chi. And we've heard the Sigma Chi fraternity boys saying in the interview, like Xana was one of us. She's like one of the boys. I just believe the two Davids were really upset at Xana and E. I believe the 4chan is linked, especially when you see the 4 figures running. I've always said. So, 4chan. I think people were jealous of the couple, may they rest in peace. They were both so happy, active. They both loved working with children. They were loved by many people. Apparently all the parents used to exchange numbers with Xana because they loved talking to Xana. Parents just love Xana. She's a beautiful person inside and out. I think somebody was really getting upset over that. Could be one of the Davids, could be someone else, could be one of the Jacks. You never know. This was a targeted crime after all. The police were confused who the target was, who the targets were, or if it was the residents that was the target. Let's not forget that. So they leave us with nothing but speculation because of the gag order. Both Maddie and Xana worked at the Mad Creek Greek restaurant for over a year and a half. Maddie was one of the managers there for the Instagram and the designing website and such things. And the restaurant has a new owner right after the murders or right before the murders, called Jackie something, Fisher something, I believe. But before that, it was owned by the Mad Creek family. They allegedly have connections, a long trail from Idaho right up to Alaska. Could they have been dealing with drugs? Could Xana and Maddie have got themselves into something worth money that was serious and they couldn't get themselves out of it? And that's the reason they lost their lives? Could that be possible? Because in the beginning of this case, WSU Kim said that her daughter told her that the rumors going around in the university and the college, / college is the same thing, I guess, was that there's going to be a shakedown that night. I believe there was thousands and thousands of drug money missing. And sometimes you wonder, could that be true? Because there was 3 unidentified male DNAs. Could this have been, were many organizations involved? Or did the 4 or one of the 4 victims find out secrets? Did Kaylee find out secrets, maybe that they were dealing with some kind of trafficking? Is that what was told to Adam? And is that what Adam must have told the bad guys about? The rumors in the beginning was that it was Maddie who flushed rugs worth thousands of money, if that is true. and they're coming for revenge. I don't think she lost it. I think she got rid of it on purpose. She threw it away. Somebody in this house was dealing with drugs. I really believe that. The reason I say that is I showed you all. If you go back to my previous clips, the last 4 or 5 clips, I believe, you'll see the facts about Bethany Funky's Venmos and about the language that's been used like COKE. Somebody was definitely dealing in this house, or was a mule, or was informed, or something was going on there definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if the house was bugged and if it had cameras. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole unlivings were recorded or sent live in the dark web. There's something that doesn't make sense with this story. And when you pay attention to the pictures Saeed is watching at Banfield, Jovito is watching at the grub truck, how they're yelling out Xana's name. Why did they need to call out Xana's name at the grub truck? What were they watching? What happened to Xana? Was there a fight club allegedly? Was there just a normal fight? Was Xana and E being attacked on the way home? What happened to Xana? Why didn't the police get the timeline of Xana and E correct from the beginning? I don't believe they got home at 1:45. If you read on the right-hand side, on the white page, it says, "This is so hard to watch. Eaton texted my son at 2 a.m. and he's almost positive that they were still at the Sigma Chi at that time, based on what the text said. That wouldn't put them at the house until at least 2:10, 2:15. My son called the tip line. My son reported this to the tip line days ago, but they are still saying that E and Xana were at the house at 1:45. Frustrating. Let's not forget that. So E and Xana were at the Sigma Chi at 2 a.m. So they couldn't have been at home at 1:45. Let's not forget that. And based on E's text to this woman's son, she informed the FBI that they wouldn't have put E at 1122 Kings Road, E and Xana, until 2:10, 2:15. So did something happen to them on their way home or at the Sigma Chi, like I always mention? This picture was the last picture taken of the house. Pay attention to the good vibes picture on the left-hand side. You see a 5-finger handprint. There was one of the 3 unidentified male DNAs. What is interesting is I've showed you all this before. Pay attention to the table. You see a couple of red plastic cups like the college students usually have, and then you see a beverage, empty glass beer bottle, I think. My question is, were the victims, especially the couple, Xana and E, were they chilling, and did somebody attack them from downstairs? Did somebody come from the first floor? Because if somebody runs up, if people run up the steps, they will definitely meet you first in the living room. I'm wondering, is that what could have happened? And I wonder if those smudges behind the reporter is red liquid. I think people were chilling at home, unless they didn't tidy up from the day before. I doubt. Yeah, I think that was definitely red liquid on the wall, because you see the same wall here, a picture of Dylan and Kaylee couple of days before the unalivings, and you don't see any red smudges on the wall. So I believe everything started from the living room. It started with Xana and E. That's why the crowd was yelling, "Xana, no, Xana." And I think as soon as Maddie and Kaylee came home, they got tied up too. How come the rumors was going around from the beginning, and it came from Idaho, Moscow, that the students were gagged up? Were they tied up? It's not the online community, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or Reddit or Twitter. It wasn't us who started with that. The police had to clear it up many times. That leaked from the college itself, I believe, from the people who knew before 10 a.m., before the police, like Kaylee's friends.
Take a look at what the house on King Road, the site of the Idaho 4 murders, looked like in darkness at night when the murders occurred. Where I'm standing is the vantage point that the alleged killer would have had. I'm standing in the parking lot of the apartment building that's directly behind the house on King Road. There's a bunch of police tape here, but I'm still extremely close to where the actual house is. This is where the white Hyundai was spotted. Those are the sliding glass doors that the killer allegedly entered and exited through, and I am a stone's throw from there. And it's just like a slope, just a little slope right there. It seems pretty easy and pretty feasible that in, I don't know, less than 60 seconds, you can make it from where I am standing to these sliding glass doors right there. Any noise would have been heard, so it's not surprising that a security camera next to Xana's bedroom at another home picked up whimpers, the dog barking, and a thud. You could hear a pin drop out here. Right here is the foundation to Xana's room. You can still actually see, even after all these weeks, the drips and drops of blood right there that had come out from the foundation. And of course we now know that Xana was found on the floor of her bedroom, so that would make a lot of sense. For me to visit the scene of the crime after the media had kind of pulled out at this point, I was the only reporter and pretty much the only person there this night. And my takeaway was that the way this house is positioned and where it is, these girls and Ethan Chapin were basically sitting ducks. It's too easy for someone to have slipped in and out with this parking lot back there and those sliding glass doors.